And welcome to the Magic Mirror. As you can see today, it's going to be about Snake, which came out in 1976 and on your mobile phones in 1998. And this is a wild thing because, like, I do remember playing Snake on my Nokia mobile phone when I was smaller, and I also remember playing a lot of Snake on the computer later on. And there's actually a lot more different kinds of games with Snake that I actually realized. And the Snake game, of course, also make me think about the Snakes and Letters game and the Pipes, and also some of the more recent games where you're a circle and you're eating each other and growing and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's inspired by Snake, but I will definitely say to you guys like it's the same premise, because like in Snake you're a small snake and then you eat stuff and become bigger and bigger as you go along, and when you are eating yourself in your behind, or how to say that, you will die. Or if you get like forced into the a corner, or you're getting forced into one of the sides, and then you will also die. Like, I think the game is a really good thing, and actually also really okay strategy game. I know like it's maybe not the best that there is out there, but I do remember playing it a lot on my phone, as I said, and also sometimes I still play it on my computer for a little bit of, just relaxing and keeping my mind off things and stuff like that. Maybe I'll show a small gameplay here of the gameplay on your mobile phone, because like I do remember that more than I remember the things that we had on the computer. And as I said, I found out there's other Snake games that I weren't aware of, like this, for example, where you can be a full snake, or how to say that, eating apples and stuff like that. So yeah, I do really like that there is different kinds of snake games out there. And as I said, like there's games that I feel is being inspired by Snake game. For example, the Pipe Mania. I don't know if you remember this, but where you have to make pipes and water go through it, and if you don't get to it, it fills the stage with water, or it spills water, and then you have to get one more time. And the reason why I'm saying like that's almost the same as Snake is because like you're making a road with your pipes, and like I feel like Snake is almost the same, where you have to, well, like the Snake is more like the water here, like you have to build around, the water. And like I feel like Snake is also a way to actually go further, and the longer your road is in Pipe Mania, the better, that more points you get, and that's also the same factor in Snakes. So yeah, that's actually really fun. I also were really good at pipes when I was smaller, but I again have to play that a little bit more. Maybe I'll play it later on here. But I do really remember like having all of the difficulty levels in Pipe Mania and also in Snake, because like even though that you might not think so, Snake becomes actually really hard on like in the later levels, and that's just like awesome and stuff like that. And as I said, like I do remember playing it on my own mobile phone. I'll show some pictures of old mobile phones here so you know what I'm talking about. And having like to press the buttons on your phone to go up and down and to the sides and stuff like that. So yeah, I do really like this. I know that there's also Snake game that's compared with Pac-Man, so you can go from one side of the screen to another. And like it's not all the Snake games that are designed like this. The original Snake game, you have what is that, barrier around you, so you can't go outside, and you have to be like as long as possible to get the most points as possible. So that's really interesting. And something that also it got me reminded of like was the newer game. I don't know what it's called, but this with the circles, I'll put a link to it in the description down below. But where you are a circle and you have to eat the other circles and become bigger, and of course like that reminded me a lot about Snake, and I was just like, okay, yeah, this is really interesting to play. But I do believe like Snake is the forefather to this, or how to say that, because like it's almost the same thing. You have to eat the other ones, become bigger, and yeah, that's it. Try not to be eaten by the other ones and stuff like that. So I do believe like there's some capability of the same game here. And of course, I was also thinking a little bit about Snakes and Ladders. That is a board game, old school board game. If you haven't tried it, I will recommend Snake and Ladders, because like I remember playing that as a young child and being like really fond of it. Now that has nothing to do actually with the Snake game on the computer or the mobile phone, but it just like came into my mind. And you're going as your board piece on this and going up letters or going down letters. And I do think like maybe there is some similarities to the Snake game, but I don't think like that's a lot. I do believe like the other games I have mentioned here looks more like it's so Pipe Mania, and this newer games with the circles eating each other. So I do have a lot of fun with the Snake game. I will maybe, as I said, play it here a little bit later on, because like I do remember sitting with my mobile phone in the bus and playing a lot of Snake on the way to school or on the way home from school. So yeah, I do really remember playing that a lot. Not only that, I also had a Tamagotchi, but I'll talk about that in another episode. I just really like Snake, and I do believe like the items are different from each Snake game, so it's not only apples that you can get, but I do believe like there's on your phone game it was a small chicken or something in those lines. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do remember having to eat things that were jumping around or trying to escape from you, or in other lines actually also only pellets, almost like the Pac-Man game. But this was a little bit different, because like you were growing and growing, so you had to figure out where to sliver around to avoid being like too big, or avoid the area around like the maze, or how to say that. I know like there's Snake games where you can also build your own labyrinth and try that, but I think like that's a little bit too hard for me. So yeah, I'll just keep to the normal Snake game and have fun with that, because like it's actually, as I said, a little bit difficult. And when you get into the higher levels, it's hard to get the higher points and get yourself to be as long as possible. But yeah, I really do feel like there's a lot of potentials in the Snake game and stuff like that. And of course, like it was played on the computer in really old days, and then was played on my mobile phone when I was really young. So yeah, I really do remember, and I think like this is a game that's just ingrained in your childhood. If you have never played Snake, as I said, I will recommend playing Snake on the computer. I'll put a link to a Snake game down below, and I hope that you guys will enjoy this. Tomorrow, I think, or next time, I will say that, not tomorrow, but next time, I'm going to take other game that's called like 10 cross, or how to say that. So yeah, without further ado, do remember that inspiration is right around the corner. Do remember to take care of yourself and loved ones, and that was actually